being a teenage mom. Can you recount for us just the emotions and the reactions of persons close to you towards your pregnancy?
Okay, so let me start by saying thanks again for having me to the stakeholders and thank you for having me on the panel. Let me stand up for a bit.
Yes, dear. Gone out of things,
Do I look like a teen mom? Do I look
No.
like I can hold a baby inside me? That's the
So is it
first
size
question.
zero?
Size zero, right? That's the first question I was asking myself. What is going to happen to me now? I'm going to die. This is risky. The doctor he said it already.
Yeah.
It's high risk. The first time a nurse saw me, she was like, you have to go man, are you look up at me? Because your voice and your body not add up. And I'm like, all right. The first thing she said was, your body is fully developed at age 21. Start, girl, you're not supposed to be right here any at all. This is not you, but every action comes with a reaction.
Mm-hmm.
And when you don't prep properly, or even when you prep, because I thought I prepped, but things do happen, things do burst, and you don't have no sense. At the time, it was a good feeling, but it come with a sweet a bit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So my fear and my anxiety started happening and all of that. The people around me, my parents had a greater fear, my family, my friends, and all of that, they had fear. I began losing friends. People started to drift away. I think it was a disappointment in them, or at the time, you're just bad.
Mm.
All of a sudden, when you do one thing and make a mistake, you're bad. And nobody wants to talk to you because maybe if I touch them, they'll get pregnant too. I'm not sure what would happen,
Mm-hmm.
but that was it at the time.
Wow. Wow. But what prompted you to share your story, though, Deandra? What has been, and having given out the story, what has been the reception from the people on your social media?
All right, so giving the story was because of the different emotions that I felt.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted the rest of the people in the world to know that, listen, life continues. But if you haven't been in that situation, sex is not it. Abstain still makes sense. And I think a lot of my adolescents, my teens, think that having sex with somebody really proves that you care about them or you love them or you're willing to do anything that they say to just prove to them that, listen, I'm the one for you.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of people think that guys are the one who are forcing sex. And with being a social influencer now, I've learned from my young men that support me that say, listen, this girl want to give me the thing. Wally, what am I for do? I'm like, listen, this is not it. Go out on a date, eat some ice cream, do something else. You have other ways to show that, listen, I care about you. Help her with the SD, do something else, right? And I think it's best for them to just leave it alone. Because what happens after that, going on the road, yes, your family might discriminate you, but when you go on the road, I was looking like, I'm looking like 12 now, so I was looking like 8 at the time. Everybody was like, Lord God Almighty, anybody do that for dead, them I got dead. Because, hey, if I did ever my daughter that, you know, I must rape her. And with me and myself walking, I'm like, all right, earphones. At the time, AirPods wasn't it. That wasn't invented as yet.
Mm-hmm.
So I was with my earphones all the time because I want them to not get a reaction.
Mm-hmm.
When they don't get a reaction, they're a bit quiet. So that was it for me. When I walk straight with the earphones, they won't trouble find me. They
Mm-hmm.
won't trouble the little girl. And I was that little girl,
Wow. Shutting out the noise, eh?
shutting out the noise.
It's interesting, one of the things you said, because we've been talking a lot, and they are the primary target, the girls.
Yes.
But it's interesting that you spoke about the young men and that they themselves are under pressure as well in
Yes,
some
they're under peer
instances.
pressure as well.
Yeah, yeah. Well, as we seek to improve the experience for the adolescents in the clinic, what would you like to see done differently based on what you went through in that setting?
Okay, so I was at a previous intervention, and the nurse made it clear to me that they now have teenage clinic. Thank you, Jesus. Because when I went to the clinic, My backbone over there can tell you because she was with me all the time, my mother.
Mm-hmm.
The nurses were like, hold on, and kind of in. I'm like, all right, cool, take your time. I wasn't even doing anything. I have manners. I'm a mannerable person. I was just there going for the health of me and the baby. So when the nurses were behaving like that, I was like, it wasn't me. It was something about the rest of the girls who were there thinking that they're big. Because one time I had this situation where a girl was really saying, our baby father will do this and our baby father will do that. So I'm like, why are they normalizing the badness that they think that they have? When really and truly, the nurses are the one in charge right now, caring for you and your baby, and anything can happen. But I would want the healthcare workers to treat the mothers with a little respect, because we're already going through a lot. It's really hard. Our journey to the clinic alone was hard. The breakfast not staying down. We're not used to this because girl crave a long time, Girl have to keep tick. So that was me. I was like trying to keep tick, and nothing was like really working for me. But really and truly, right now, I think it's a good thing to say that we have the teenage clinic. They get the days. They can go without facing the discrimination from the other mothers. People asking them a lot of questions because not a lot of them are strong enough mentally. They always, I forgot to use the bathroom. And when you go to the bathroom, they're breaking down, they're shaking, they don't know what to do.
Yeah, yeah. They feel like they're in a kind of a judgmental environment.
And they're being attacked.
Yeah.
Even when they're trying to look out for themselves.
Yeah.
It's
Excellent.
very, hard.
Excellent. Well, we're glad that an environment now exists where they can go and they can be comfortable. There's no judgment, and that there are people who have a better understanding of what it means to be a young girl and go through that. Thank you so much for sharing that with us and for being here. Please continue to do the good work on social media. We need voices like yours.
Yes, because within a year, when the pandemic had hit, I created my YouTube channel, the thewdfamily, and I'm now at 35.9K subscribers.
Wow.
For me, that's a good achievement.
It's excellent.
Yes, that's great.
And now I have the thewdfamily, not only as a YouTube channel, but it has changed into a clothing brand. And I'm now a counselor, not licensed, but I'm a counselor. I speak to people way older than me, telling me their problems, and I'm here helping them because really they don't know how to talk to their children.
Yeah.
And it's not that they're a bad parent.
They just don't know
they
how.
don't know. And they don't know how to communicate on their level. You have to be helping them and all of that. I deal with rape victims. And a girl was saying to me, she did not choose to be a teen mom. It just happened, and she really took on the role. So it's really good to know that I'm here helping these future people.
Excellent, Deandra. You're filling a gap.
Yes.
You're filling a serious gap. And commendable. Listen, what a great morning it's been. I want to thank all the panelists. We've shared such a wealth of information and perspectives. And now we want to turn to our viewers to see if any of you have questions or comments that you want to share or you want to ask. Thank you very much. I want to try and read this handwriting from Marian. Is any part of the campaign pushing abstinence? This is for Ms. Byfeild. Or is it just long-acting contraceptive?
Okay, the campaign's slogan is live life before you give life. So the essence is we're encouraging you to delay sexual activity, to delay becoming sexually active, which can result in pregnancy. And so therefore, it has a focus on what it is that you need to do in order to control your sexual urges, how you manage the pressure, the advances that you will get, both as a male and a female. How is it that you're going to, in fact, preserve and protect yourself from not just unplanned pregnancy, but also from the HIV and other STIs. So it has that focus because in living your life, you're ensuring that you're keeping focus, you're developing your plans and your strategies, and you're ensuring that at the second part of it, should you get pregnant, we recognize that it is not the end, but there are other things that you can do to move on to maintaining your goals and maintaining the path and achieving the goals that you have set before. So it's a two-part campaign. Live your life before you give life.
Before you give life. This one's a very technical one for you, Doc. Zoe. Is there any law against contraceptives for girls under 16?
Sorry. Any law?
Yes.
I'm not aware. The fact, though, is that minors should not be sexually active as per the law, even. They cannot give consent, which is why men need to leave them alone.
Yes.
That's the best thing you can do for yourself and for her. Leave her alone. If she's under 16, she cannot give consent. And so this whole matter too about this is the girl who threw herself on the man, and so she can't do that. She doesn't know how to do that. Yeah. You don't have a defense. Don't even think about it. So in terms of the law, maybe somebody else could speak to that even.
You're right.
But the fact is that there are minors under 16 even.
And that's the first.
That's the
first consideration.
Absolutely.
That applies in this scenario. Deandra, you wanted to say something?
Okay, so with the older men leaving the younger females alone, a lot of females are under peer pressure or sometimes poverty.
True.
So they undergo transactional sex.
Yes.
And with them not being able to talk about it with any and anyone, it's really a big secret for them.
Yeah.
So instead of eating fried chicken from school, I know that I'm getting KFC and I'm having a hype. So with that...
And I get an iPhone.
Yes, I'm getting an iPhone. And I can snap. And I can do this. And I can go there and I can wear this because it's in trend. And that is why we're not going to stop seeing teenage pregnancy. The older men are doing the most. And being, for example, or should I say no, they're undercover with it. Yes.
That's the reality, huh?
Yeah.
Reality. Sad truth.
Yep.
Yeah, but it's a serious reality. So another question for you, Zoe. Do you have any teen mom ambassadors or mentors who went through it? Because, I mean, listen to Deandra. She's really very powerful as someone who's sharing her experience. Do you have mentors?
Several across. As a matter of fact, we have some who are international even.
Okay.
And with respect to the A-Stream program, we encourage the past students of the Women's Center to register to be the mentors. That's one of the components of the A-Stream, providing each girl with a mentor who will walk beside her, hold her hand until she completes. So yes, those who walk the walk and understand the journey and understand how the shoe fits, they are the ones who walk beside the girls. They come back also to the centers to do the counseling sessions with them. And it is fantastic when you see somebody who now is a lawyer, for example, a dressmaker, whatever. And when she tells you that I had my child when I was 14, and I'm sitting there wondering what's going to happen to me at 13 and 14 and so on. When you see that person who did it, then you recognize there is hope for me beyond this initial.
It's not a dream. It's a reality that can be realized.
There you have it.
Excellent. Ms. Byfeild, is there anything, and it's going back to the discussion we had before I threw the question at Dr. Simpson, is there anything being done to educate the men who have unprotected sex with teenage girls?
Okay, so one of the major thrusts for us since 2019, 2020, based on the evidence that we are seeing, is the need to include our men more in family planning and in contraceptive use and speaking with your partner around family planning. We recognize that the culture out there supports multiple partnerships. It supports bareback sex. It in fact speaks to the fact that as a man, you need to be able to demonstrate your ability to have sex, have it rough, and do all of these things. So we have been doing some research with our men, and we just did some recent focus group discussions, and we have learned a lot around how is it that we should be structuring our campaigns and our information around speaking to men. And one of the first things we learned is, that was reinforced for us, is that we need to have more men speaking to men.
Yeah.
Because we as women have opinions and have ideas, but we can't communicate in that way that the man wants his pari P or his peer to say and support him. And so we have been getting some champions on board in terms of men who can help us with being the voice to have that conversation in many different settings. Right now we're looking at it along our social media platforms, but we're also, once we have passed through a lot of this COVID restriction, to seek again to have more on-the-corner conversations with our men, and also to have more of the community type outreach activities with our champions to inform and to persuade and to support and to guide men around the basic issues of condom use, around the issue about planning your families, recognizing that as you have more children, it eats out your resources. It also challenges you as a man and being able to really support a woman and to get that kind of image. Even though you're getting the image from your peers, the woman recognizes that you have failed her in some way. And even though we don't think that it affects the male, we know that they're affected based on what they are saying. So they want us to be able to get some of their influencers to take this message to them and to reinforce the fact that family planning is critical, reduce the number of children, and in fact ensure that you're using condoms consistently in an effort to reduce HIV, STI transmission as well.
I'm glad you raised STI transmission because, Doc, this one is for you. What is the STI rate among teen moms?
We don't have those numbers.
Okay.
Meaning STIs are underreported, and through the hospital setting, then we are not the primary site where STI management takes place. It takes place more at the community level, at the health centers, and with the general practitioners. So we're not aware of that in the hospital.
Right.
It's difficult, and we don't routinely test. Meaning, we don't routinely test for STIs. So even whatever number is generated is still not going to be a true picture.
Not a true reflection. I think you'll address this while presenting, but Trishelle _98 is still asking, is it possible to get pregnant on the Jadel? Because she says one of my friends got pregnant while on it.
Yes, it is possible.
The 1%.
But the failure rate is less than 1%.
Less than 1%. All right. This one can go to either Ms. Byfeild or Dr. Simpson. What plans or discussions are in place for preteens and adolescents who have not yet gotten pregnant?
Byfeild, want to take it?
Okay, so part of our overall program, because again, we have to recognize that in attempting to be targeted in our interventions, we know we have to maintain the information and the knowledge of those who are entering adolescence and also those who are likely to become sexually active. And so within our schools, we have very strong collaboration with the Ministry of Education through the Health and Family Life Education Program. And we have been involved in training and equipping the team there. They now have specific health and family life education teachers to impart the information within those settings. So we have that as part of the formal structure within the schools. We also are doing interventions in different settings where we can reach the young people. And so we are doing a lot of work on our social media platforms around the fact that they need to give them more information around their sexual and reproductive health, some basic information around what is happening in their bodies and how to cope with this. And on the other hand, also, we are working with the parents. We encourage and we do parenting interventions and parenting workshops within the communities. Right now, this is somewhat restricted, again, I must mention, but that has been those have been the main thrusts in order to get to those who are not yet sexually active and also to get to those who are not pregnant. So we are encouraging individuals within this group, looking at those areas that they frequent, looking at opportunities that are presented, and then infusing the information within those settings. Our primary focus, however, is within the school.
Within the schools. Doc, what are the common characteristics of girls who access services through the Women's Center? I think they're looking for demographics.
The common characteristics?
Yeah.
So a girl comes to us with the pregnancy, first day, and her shoulders are bent over, her head is slumped down, and she thinks that it's the end of the world. And there's no way she's going to reach her goals, academic goals and so on. By the time we're done with her at that initial interview, she begins to see a glimmer of hope. By the time she's with us for one term even, she understands that there is a lot of life beyond this pregnancy.
Yeah.
By the time she's had the baby, because we prepare them for the delivery even, and give them whatever financial support and whatever else that they need. We prepare them for the process. By the time she has the baby, even if a girl thinks that I really don't want to have this child at all, by the time she has the baby and she recognizes the extent of support provided at the center and the familial support and the school support and so on, she now recognizes that, wow, there is hope for me, and it's a different girl that leaves us.
That exits, that what enters.
Precisely. The transformation
is different.
Is remarkable.
Can you share anything in terms of age group, community, level of education? Are there any commonalities?
Age group. A few years ago, we recognized that the average girl coming to us would be 14 plus. Now we're finding that on average, the girl is 15 plus 16, bordering on 17. The girls are getting pregnant. Well, they are pregnant, presenting with the pregnancy older, the older age range and so on. And it's right across the board, though. I want to say perhaps, too, there are some persons who think that the poverty, only the girls who are in the poor levels of the society become pregnant. Pregnancy is no respecter of the socioeconomic demographics even.
Yeah.
And so we have girls from right across the spectrum who present with the pregnancy, and at any age, mind you. But yes, we're finding that they are presenting with the pregnancy at the older ages.
Okay. Lovette, I know you mentioned working through the school system.
Yeah,
Will you be working specifically with the guidance counselors as well in the school system?
So two things, just to be in a consistent in what Dr. Simpson just said in terms of the age that they're presenting, because this is not consistent with what we saw with the national CAP, the Knowledge, Attitude, Practice, and Behavior Survey, where the median age for initiation has actually increased. So we're seeing something there, and we need to just continue working. So within the schools, in addition to our work with the health and family life education, teachers and the health promotion officers within the Ministry of Education regions, we also implement the Hold On, Hold Off program. And that is an abstinence program. We're saying to persons, hold on, hold off, wait, live life, prepare yourself, empower yourself, do all of these things before you become pregnant. And this basically is a collaborative effort between ourselves and the Ministry of Education, who have identified for us particular schools where there are challenges around teenage pregnancy or around sexual activity. And so we would go into those schools and we would work along with the grades 7 to 9 students. So they have just entered high school. We want to ensure that they are getting the information and getting it correctly, but we also want to ensure that it is being done in an interactive way with an individual that they feel comfortable having the conversations with. We would have done some training of guidance counselors across the various regions of the Ministry of Education to ensure that these persons are also fully equipped in order to impart the information. And they are greatest partners because they are the ones who will inform the Ministry of Education Guidance and Counseling Unit around the challenges and then provide the information for us to enter within the communities. And this is being done through the regional behavior change communication teams within the various parishes, island-wide.
Before I go to Deandra, one of the things that Deandra did mention was the fear of stigma and discrimination. And so in the training of the health sector workers, is that an aspect of the training? Definitely.
And that is a big focus of the adolescent unit of the Ministry of Health. They are the ones who have established the teen centers, and we have worked closely with them to look at how we address and deal with adolescent issues in an effort to reduce the stigma. How do I become comfortable as a health provider who is also reflective of the greater society and the attitudes and so. So how do I address those internally? And then we look, then better able to provide information to the adolescents. And so we are creating a more supportive environment in order for the adolescent to access care.
Excellent. Deandra, you wanted to make a point.
Okay, this is not really a question. It's more of a statement. I would like you guys to implement in some training for the guidance counselors that whatever somebody says to you should be kept
Confidential.
confidential. Because when you go to a guidance counselor and you say, Miss, I'm having this and this issue, and then coincidentally, 2 teachers can come to you or a few teachers can say, are you all right? You sure this number there? How would you know that I'm having this issue? I want the guidance counselors to be more of my best friend when I have a problem instead of being, I wonder if I should say this or I wonder if I can say that.
Yeah. Sounds like some sensitivity training,
Yes.
Miss Byfeild, because, I'm listening and sometimes it's not even the confidentiality, but that they may say to the next teacher, take it a little easy on her because she's having a challenge. But the communication and the way it's dealt with.
Yes.
So some sensitivity training for sure. Thank you, Deandra. That's very important
You're welcome.
and critical. Listen, it's been such a great morning, hasn't it? Yes, man. Thank you so much for joining us, ladies and gentlemen, for this launch of the Live Life Before You Give Life campaign from the National Family Planning Board. It's very important work that has benefited and will continue to benefit many of our country's teenagers. I want to say a very special thank you to our panelists, the Honorable Juliet Cuthberth Flynn, State Minister in the Ministry of Health and Wellness, Ms. Lovette Byfeild, Principal Director of the National Family Planning Services Division of the Ministry of Health and Wellness, previously the National Family Planning Board. So you've heard us interchange names. That's what we mean. Dr. Zoe Simpson, Executive Director, Women's Center Foundation of Jamaica. Dr. Garth McDonald, pleasure to have you, sir, Consultant OBGYN and Senior Medical Officer, Victoria Jubilee Hospital, and Miss Deandra Wallace, social media youth influencer. Look out for her at Wally D Official. Special mention of our partners, the Inter-American Development Bank, the IDB, our funding partners, the Planning Institute of Jamaica. And thank you to our viewers, especially to our adolescents who tuned in and joined us on the virtual platforms. You've certainly helped to make this day happen, and please continue to keep that connection with us as we continue to find better ways to serve you. Use the hashtag Live Life Before You Give Life. So it's hashtag Live Life, B, letter B, the number 4, U, the letter U, Give Life, and help to spread the message on all platforms. Remember, it's not just family planning, it's life planning, and we want you to be successful at it. Live life before you give life. Now we're going to show the rest of the posters and infographics from the campaign, so please keep tuned in. I'm Dahlia Harris. It was great to be your host. The next voice you'll hear is that of the one and only 27 Rising Star winner, Short Boss 2017. Rising Star winner, sorry. Short Boss. I get excited when I hear Short Boss and I start chatting foolishness. Take care, everyone, and remember, it's your life. Live it. Live life before you give life. Have a great afternoon.